Hello and welcome to the Film Whisperers, where two movie nerds talk all things film with a contemporary lens. My name is Saj.
I'm Alice.
So, Alice, how are you?
Well, thanks. Just trying to keep warm.
Yes?
Yourself?
Yeah, like everyone in Melbourne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's freezing.
Have you seen anything good recently?
I saw The Watchers.
Yeah.
It was a film by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. Can't remember her name, sorry, but it was pretty good. It was, as far as Shyamalan films go, I think it was kind of keeping in that style where I really like the premise. I think it's going to be good, but I know it kind of fizzles out. And it did. It kind of fizzled out at the end. But it was okay. I'm still going to watch every other film that they bring out.
Yeah, I saw The Watchers as well.
Yeah.
I did not like it at all.
No.
I thought it was really poorly executed, and I did not know it was an M. Night Shyamalan film.
All right.
Until the very end when I saw his daughter's name, and I just said to myself, oh great, like father, like daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was a waste of Dakota Fanning's time, to be honest, because Dakota Fanning's a great actress.
That's one of the reasons I watched it. I saw Dakota Fanning and I was like, okay, let's do it.
But that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about today. And, you know, given that Dakota Fanning's character goes a bit strange in the film, I would say there's a trope that exists with unpredictable women in media that we're obsessed with. And I thought it might be a good opportunity for two movie nerds to unpack the trope of the crazy female. Now, before we do that, I just want to say we're not encouraging the use of that term in any way. We're calling it the crazy female trope because that is what it's referred to as, a trope.
Yeah.
It's incredibly misogynist and inappropriate, to be honest, but we want to unpack it because we think that there's an interesting discussion around it. And when we use the term crazy female in this context, we're just using it because we want to give it a name, and that's the name that it's called. So just want to put it out there. Again, we're not encouraging it.
We don't condone that kind of language.
That's right. So Alice, what is the crazy woman trope or the crazy female trope?
In my opinion, the crazy woman trope is a film about which has a woman character in it who goes against society's norms, and it's usually very heightened kind of thing that they're going against the norms, and they're just displaying kind of what would you say? They're kind of displaying characteristics which maybe might be considered mentally unwell or very sexual or aggressive, these kind of things. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And I think if I was to look at all the films that I've seen where this is a trope, I'd class them into probably three types. So you have the more popular ones, the obsessive stalker trait. So women who get obsessed with a charming man. Yeah. A lot of the time it is a man. I think I can think of one example where it's not, which is a single white female. Yeah. We have the mentally unwell women, and they're not displaying stalker traits. They're just mentally, you could tell they're unwell and they're crazy. And then there's the femme fatale. So the woman that goes on a killing spree. And those three would be very common in terms of what we see in media as crazy women.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can unpack that further.
Okay. So let's talk about maybe the femme fatales.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of films have femme fatale characters that you can think of?
The one that came to mind was Gone Girl.
For sure.
With Rosamund Pike.
Yeah. So that's a recent one, would you say? Femme fatale kind of came in the 40s. Yeah. That those films, and it was during like the noir kind of film period. And the woman is usually manipulating men to get what she wants. Maybe a detective. She's getting a detective to do something, and she's being very deceitful. And she's usually quite attractive. She uses her sexuality to get what she wants. And then you find out at the end that she's bad, and she's usually punished for it as well for doing these wrong things. Let's talk about Gone Girl. So if that's kind of where we kind of know the femme fatale kind of trope started, what do we see in that in Gone Girl?
I'm going to be honest, I remember watching it and thinking, geez, this girl's crazy. And, and I'm sorry, I'm using that language, but it was an honest opinion of what I thought when I saw it when it came out. I think it was 2015.
Yes.
And I think what was a bit unhinged about that character was she just killed out of nowhere. So she, and the fact that she had planned the whole thing when you actually find out what she was up to, it was a moment of, oh my God, she's smart, firstly, but she's also really unhinged, and she just goes into this killing spree.
In a killing spree, but yeah, they're all kind of premeditated kills.
Yeah.
Mostly. And it's interesting you mentioned that she's smart.
Yeah.
I think that the femme fatale character usually is quite intelligent.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that she gets punished for as well. That she's smarter than the men, and she's manipulating them.
Yeah.
She manipulates her husband in this, and the guy that kind of like Neil Patrick Harris's character. She manipulates him to get what she wants.
She manipulates a friend, the neighbor.
The neighbor?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of manipulation. Interesting. I literally just thought of this. Catwoman, that character, I mean, a bit of femme fatale in there as well. Yeah. And she's considered to be crazy, isn't she?
Yeah. She's always a step ahead. And she's always a bit crazy. Yeah. And she uses her sexuality quite a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also want to point this out, and we'll talk about this later. Rosamund Pike got an Oscar nomination for that film. And if you were to look at Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is probably the best Catwoman that currently exists in the Batman universe.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And the other film that you mentioned with that femme fatale trope was Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct, yes, with Sharon Stone. Yeah. Again, she knows what's happening from the start, right? And she's manipulating all these men, all these policemen, all these so men with authority. Yeah. Until the end when she gets caught out again. I can't remember the end of that film.
Well, it sort of ends with I can't, because there was so much sex in that film, but I think it just ends with the camera panning out and you see an ice pick under her bed, and you just realize, she's been guilty of this the whole time. So, it's funny, I cannot see that film now, and this is a sidetrack to femme fatale, without actually thinking of how traumatized Sharon Stone was with that, because she said that the most famous scene with the legs, that was not scripted. The director forced her to do it, and she suffered because of it. So it's that's just a sidetrack, but it would be really hard for me to watch that film now, knowing what she went through. Okay, so that's the femme fatale bit. Right. Okay, so we have the mentally unwell, Misery.
Misery, yes, that woman is clearly not mentally unwell, and it's also a stalker film though, so it kind of like crosses over. I guess these all can kind of cross each other. She loses control of herself many times. What do you think of that film?
I thought it was quite disconcerting to watch. Yeah. Because it felt really uneasy. Yes. But again, Kathy Bates won an Oscar for that. Okay, and we're going to talk about this, but anyway.
Also, Girl Interrupted. I think that's a good film with a lot of different mental health, like a lot of different mentally unwell women.
Though the difference, Alice, I feel as if with Misery, we are meant to feel sorry for the author of the book, and we're looking at this character, I think her name is Annie Wilkes, and we're going, oh, she's crazy. Yeah. And I'm going to keep doing this because, but I don't think I felt that way with Girl Interrupted. I think with Girl Interrupted, I looked at that and sort of realized that, firstly, it's a true story, I think. I think it's a true story. Yeah. But given that it is set in a facility, I felt like mental health was a second character of the film. And there's themes of suicide, there's a lot of things in there that they actually used the film to talk about mental health. I mean, probably not in the healthiest way, given that it was the late 90s. But I think with Misery, mental health is not spoken about. You just look at this film and go, she's not okay.
Yeah, but they don't actually bring it up. Yeah, it's just that she's crazy. It's not that she needs help kind of thing. It's just that there's something for a man to be scared of, a successful man to be scared of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another film I could think of was Blue Jasmine.
Yes, Blue Jasmine.
Yep. Again, mentally unwell.
Mm-hmm. Mentally unwell, but maybe for a reason as well. I think that's something else I wanted to mention, that in these films, especially when they seem like they're mentally unwell, that there can be a reason for these women to be going through this.
Yeah.
So, for example, Cate Blanchett's character in Blue Jasmine, her husband's like kind of ruined her life. She's, you know, anyone would kind of feel that way, but they really like play into that she's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like for good reason.
I just want to quickly say this. So I'm not condoning, I'm going to be careful with this because I'm not condoning anyone watching Woody Allen. The one thing that I've noticed with him is in many of his films, he writes crazy women.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of his films, there's always a female character that just turns and goes nuts.
Yeah.
And Cate Blanchett, when she won her award for Blue Jasmine, she thanked Woody Allen for writing these amazing roles for women. Okay? Now, don't know how I feel about that, but why do these performances keep winning Oscars?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking just Woody Allen.
Yeah. The crazy woman trope.
Again, Kathy Bates, Rosamund Pike, Cate Blanchett. And we can keep going. There's many more. I mean,
it's kind of a double-edged sword because on one hand, I like the fact that women are able to get awards for playing characters that are unusual and that are very heightened and doing things which aren't meek women. However, when we're talking about these tropes, we're saying that they're kind of negatively impacting women's stories. So there's kind of that pit too, where it's like, are they only getting it when they're doing these negative portrayals of a crazy woman?
I agree. I also think we got to take one more step back and ask, are these the best roles written out there for women?
Yeah.
Because with Misery, it was I think 1990. I'm guessing at the time there may not have been good content out there. But then I'm thinking Gone Girl in 2015. And by the way, Gone Girl was one of the first films to be produced by Reese Witherspoon's production company that actually gave her success to then keep going. But Reese Witherspoon nearly was cast in that. She actually wanted to be in it, and the casting director said to her, "You're not a good fit," which thank God she didn't, because Rosamund Pike just was absolutely amazing. Gone Girl was nearly nine years ago. I mean, I guess it's still a long time, but it's happening recently is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's still happening today.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of always going to be a popular trope, but I think maybe we could change the way that we're filming these kind of topics.
Okay.
I think how we're doing the film. So I think kind of Gone Girl's a good example of this. I actually like Gone Girl compared to these other films, which I think the characters are like one or two dimensional, that you don't really understand why they're doing it. You don't have empathy for the character as much. With Gone Girl, she's explaining what she's doing. Maybe she is, it's all very cold and premeditated, but you understand her backstory. She's not just one kind of character. So I kind of think that in a way, because she does that, there is more of a feminist approach.
So speaking of which, the next one that I wanted to talk about was Promising Young Women. I won't call her mentally unwell, actually.
No. But she's looking for revenge.
Yeah.
It's a revenge trope film, but she's very aggressive with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they say that she's crazy. I think she gets called crazy by some of the men in it, right?
Yeah.
So just to explain it, her best friend is murdered, raped by, she kills herself.
Yeah.
But
that's it. She kills herself. She
kills herself. Yeah. Yes, after she is raped. Correct. Sorry, these are very heavy themes. So, but yes, and the judicial system lets her friend down, and that's what causes her to feel so sad and not want to live anymore. When that happens, her friend wants to seeks revenge on these kind of men that would be predatory when women are drunk, basically. And so she pretends to be drunk, and then when they're about to sleep with her, when she's pretending she's very drunk, she shows them that she's not drunk. And that's the premise. But the men are so shocked that she's doing this to them.
And they keep saying, I'm a nice guy. And...
I'm a nice guy. I wouldn't do that. I was just having fun. I thought we were having fun. It's like...
One of the best movies ever made, by the way.
Yeah. It blew me away in the cinema.
So good.
She is crazy to a lot of these people in the film. But I think watching it, her actions are... I agree with her actions in a way. I'm not... the ending I don't like.
I also want to point out that Promising Young Woman is written and directed by a woman.
Yes.
So I was about to ask, well, can women be misogynist in their writing?
Yes.
When, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's quite, okay. Right.
Don't you? I think so, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I guess I haven't put that much thought into the misogyny of women writing other women, because most of the films that I've seen, whenever there is a female writer, the women are written better than what a man would do.
I agree. Yeah, in general. Absolutely.
So
absolutely. But I think there's still room for that to happen.
Yeah.
No one's perfect, and
that's true.
So there's definitely going to be that, but the films that I've seen, I agree with you. Every time I've seen that, you're seeing more character development.
Yeah.
You're seeing, so with Promising Young Woman, you see what she's doing at the start, but then you get to find out her backstory and why she's doing this.
Yeah.
And then there's other films with the crazy woman trope, which we've discussed, where you don't know why.
Yeah.
They're just a lesson.
Yeah.
And especially back in the day, they were, and to varying degrees today, but it was a lesson for a woman not to act that way. Yeah. Otherwise, they're going to be punished.
Well, the final trope was the obsessive stalker.
Yes.
And I think that was very common in the 70s and 80s and probably the 90s as well. I mean, Fatal Attraction is the one film that I can think of where
it gets used again and again and again as an example. Yeah, with Glenn Close.
Yeah. And Glenn Close got a lot of accolades as well for that role.
For showing crazy.
For showing crazy. Yeah.
It was very aggressive.
Yeah.
I think that thing that men are scared of, but also I feel like this kind of a character is definitely going to be written by a man, because I think it's also a bit of a fantasy for them to have a woman that's so obsessed with them, because they're so good at sex. The woman will become so obsessed with them to get to that level.
So you're saying it's that reverse sort of, it's written to put a man on a pedestal to go, of course she's going to be obsessed with me.
Yeah.
Look how amazing I am.
Exactly.
Straight men. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even the writer, okay, so we're saying that there was that cross for like Misery.
Yeah.
The stalker, like, he's such a good writer, and she wants to help him to make to finish his book, or, it's kind of these women playing, to stroke these men's egos.
And, there's a few other films that follow that trope. So there was a film that came out in the early 2000s called Swim Fan.
Yeah.
Again, same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Girl gets obsessed with, I believe, was a swimmer.
It's a swimmer. Yeah, a good athlete.
A good athlete, yep, because he's just this top.
Just a fine specimen of a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I've not written this down, but there was also a film that flopped called Obsessed with Beyonce, as in Beyonce Knowles. Yes, and Idris Elba. The man who she's obsessed with is like a businessman or something. Like, so he was a very sort of corporate person, and this person got obsessed with him in Baby Reindeer.
I mean, now that it's on a film.
It's on a film, but
this is very popular, and there's it's at the moment.
That came out this year.
Yeah, and people are obsessed with it because this woman is obsessed with this guy.
Yeah.
Now we're only getting his side of the story in this film.
Yeah. Series.
In this series, but it kind of strokes the person's ego. I think that one kind of delves in a little bit more though, because they've got that time to. It's not just kind of.
But also, they show his side of the story in terms of why he was liking it.
Yes.
Which is not something that most films do with the men.
They like it at first, but then it's too much, or they like a little bit of attention from a female, but then too much attention because they've decided they don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
So they don't want the woman to keep going. Let's just make that clear. The woman shouldn't keep going for a man if the man says, I don't want your attention anymore. But yeah, it is an ego boost the way these films are kind of written, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So clearly it's the film industry taking advantage of the power dynamic, the patriarchy, really.
Mm-hmm.
And just condoning the narrative of men are superior than women.
I think at the heart of it, there's that. I don't know if they're all can be dwindled down to that. I'm not sure. Maybe they can be, but I think it's just even just a hangover from those thoughts in the early days of cinema.
Yeah. So why do you think, as a society, we still keep going back to these? So I mean, let's face it, right? If Fatal Attraction, and they did do a TV show of Fatal Attraction, but if their Fatal Attraction-esque or Swim Fan-esque film came out now that had Zendaya and another famous actor, we will watch it.
Yeah.
And chances are we might even like it.
Yeah.
What do you reckon is that thing that drives us to it?
I think it is that the woman is doing something other than what she's kind of expected to do. That she is just going, for better word, crazy. She's just doing what she wants to do. And a lot of the times she's in power. And so that's fun to watch as well. I mean, but that is one of the things. So she's in power. She's doing what she wants to do. She's in control of the man. It's a role reversal. So I think there's that bit. And I'm saying this is if we just think about like the good of it, for what I would want to see. But obviously we know that there's an underbelly to that.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I like to watch
it. So is it a feminist trope?
It depends who writes it, I think. Like I said, I think it can be, but it depends how it's been written. If the female character is just there to stroke the ego of the man, to have no backstory, we don't understand her except that she is crazy, then I don't think it's a feminist film. But if we are looking into why this woman is acting this way, we're showing some empathy towards it. She's not completely punished for it, or we come away understanding female stories a bit better, then I think it's a feminist film.
Wow. Okay.
Do you agree?
I don't know, Alice. I think it's only because it's at the end of the day, Promising Young Woman aside, it's still a crazy female, and I still think that trope is just misogynist. And but maybe you. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you here, but I'm saying it's something to think about.
Yeah.
It's only because, and I'm guessing I feel like I have a very fixed mindset on this, but it's just it is still that crazy female, which is really hard to.
It's rough.
Yeah.
But I guess there are crazy women out there, so there is stories like this that are. That are real. There is women who get jealous. There are women who are smarter than men. There are women who, are deceitful. But I think when it's all these negative tropes and it's shown as a negative trope in the film, that's when I don't like it.
We're nearly at the end. I want to talk about the crazy male trope.
Yes.
Okay. Are there films where there are crazy men?
Absolutely. There's so many.
I can think of two.
Taxi Driver.
Yes. Okay. 3.
Taxi Driver. Raging Bull.
I haven't seen that. That's De Niro, isn't it? Both of them. Okay.
Yeah, it's a boxer, crazy boxer.
Okay.
Scarface.
Yep.
What do you think?
American Psycho.
Yep. Absolutely.
Psycho.
Yes.
Those are the two.
Those are the two?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've got more too, but I think it's written differently.
Shining.
The Shining as well. Yeah.
What is it about those films that are written differently?
Males are cooler. I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but they're not so negative as the females. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the males are written in a way where, we kind of quote them. We think they're kind of cool.
You're so
and they're
right.
They're masculine. Yeah. They're just so masculine when really they're very angry. And that's one of the that's a very strong emotion. So they're all being very emotional throughout the whole film, losing control of their emotions through anger, mostly.
American Psycho, but it's so weird. I've only seen that film once, but I immediately knew his name's Patrick Bateman. It's just because it's everywhere.
Yeah, he's classic. Can these films be feminist films?
No.
Yeah.
No, 100% no. I think definitely not.
Because Patrick Bateman, like that's a terrible film about a male. Like it's that idea of that all these power brokers are all the same way and they all are like psychopaths, basically. That's a trope, right? That's a stereotype. But then we've also got these males, so Psycho, for example.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting choice because, yes, he is the crazy male. But I find it interesting when they do these kind of characters, the psychopaths, and they're usually quite effeminate.
Mm.
Have you noticed that? And
No.
they've got an issue with their mother or something.
Yeah.
Maybe their sexuality is, maybe they're homosexual. There's like, they don't say it outright, especially the older films.
Yeah.
But there's like a kind of an undertone to it. Psycho's a bit different because he is perving on her as well. So I don't know if he is, but there's that effeminate aspect to these characters.
The Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. It's another one.
I don't like the Joker.
I do not like no, but I will watch the next one with Lady Gaga.
And that film, a lot of people really enjoy his character.
Yeah,
they all think he's really cool. He's kind of going against the grain, and he's like sick of society.
Yeah,
and I wonder why these male crazy characters are kind of put up in a better light than the crazy female counterparts. Although women do win awards for these.
But they're not put on pedestals though.
No, this is like a don't do this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the male characters, I feel as if there aren't many films that have the crazy male trope, because a lot of the time men are written in a way that, I guess in a way, it's one-dimensional most of the time. So when there is this film like The Joker where it shows a man just kind of going a bit crazy, it's almost like it's relatable.
Yeah.
Not to me.
We understand why he's doing it.
Yes.
He's getting that backstory that we crave in the female, crazy female film.
I think we can keep talking about this forever, but we need to wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think I can't think of a recommendation, to be honest, at the end of this, but maybe just Promising Young Woman if you haven't seen it. I mean,
definitely Promising Young Woman. If you've never seen Psycho, I think it's definitely a film that you should watch. It's I think it's interesting.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Really well done. Really well done.
Also, we needed to just mention before we wrap up that we've started a podcast.
We've started a podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. It's called Rewind, Rethink. Find it on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and also follow us on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching The Film Whisperers. My name is Saj.
I'm Alice.
Bye.
Bye.